Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to Week 4's God Wars report for the week of May 12th. This report is titled "Dragons and Smoke on the Horizon." While the homeland of Lord Xandar's High Elves was relatively quiet this lunar cycle, their new foothold on the Silver Moon seems quite busy, with a ring of mountain ranges springing up to surround a small fortress that appeared to be guarded by a silver dragon. His sister, the goddess of life, busied her people with the renovation of her temple and a large castle, while her citizenry could be seen patrolling Tamriel's woodlands on their mighty war steeds. The goddess of the deep blue sea, however, raised yet another range of undersea mountains to encircle her grand castle, while no less than 3 mighty serpents patrolled Tamia's waters against would-be intruders to her watery realm. The Dark Elves of the Dark Avenger built another city in the mountains near their largest castle, while the armies of Arvadran patrolled their lands accompanied by a terrible black dragon. The god Wisdom busied his people with the construction of larger temples and castles under the watchful eyes of his newest draconic creation, a terrible green dragon. Uxmal commanded his people to build another city amid the sinking plain to accommodate his newly hatched children and their all-consuming need to expand their horizons. The great devourer raised his grand castle till its spires and minarets soared far above the waves of the central sea, while his hordes of oceanic abominations looked on awestruck with its magnificence, while his neighbors must surely have felt nothing but revulsion at its blasphemic countenance. The Lord of Light continued his mighty mountains and raised them all around his palace in the clouds, where his winged folk sang his praises all through this blessed lunar cycle. Another skeletal army piled aboard yet another war fleet launched by the harvester to reap another bitter harvest among the lands of the living, and to sow the seeds of destruction among the good peoples of Maiar. The undead sea serpents of Izza, the goddess of the soulless, were unable to penetrate the defensive barriers erected by Arcanum's prophet Argra, as his war fleet sped north of the equator toward warmer climates and friendlier shores, while Izza's war fleets disgorged her soulless cargo on Arcanum's shores and began to lay siege to Castle Wargstrom, where Arcanum's defensive forces puzzled at Izza's armies, stopping short of the walls of Castle Wargstrom, as if waiting further reinforcements. The evil giants under the dominion of Lord Stundar have been strangely absent these many moons, and some wonder if they may have succumbed to the bitter cold of the southern ice caps, or if they may have fallen prey to their own machinations. While Brutus, Stundar's twin brother, has been seen cavorting with woolly mammoths and other furred abominations in and around his colossal granite castle, whose smoky plumes continue to belch inky black smoke far into the heavens. Far to the north and far beneath the waves, Click-Clack-Bibble-Doop has not been silent, but nor has she or her minions been seen, save for the rumors among the halflings of strange giant crustaceans washing ashore on their northern coast. Black smoke could also be seen billowing from Ilstrandia's largest castle, and her titanic spidery behemoths could be seen patrolling her mountains and valleys this lunar cycle. From the lands of the eastern Mothmen, a mighty plume of smoke could be seen from their grand forge, followed by an enormous gigantic moth, ridden by a nameless Mothman, could be seen flying due south in the direction of the Lupine Empire. Vermark's armies have built a budding fortress on the newly conquered island between the central and eastern continent while their forges jettison inky black and gray plumes that often blot out the sun for hundreds of leagues in every direction. In the icy realm of Teng Fei, a new place of power could be felt by all the gods of Maiar, and something else, something possibly more powerful, sent ripples through the lands and far into the skies of the Crimson Crucible. Ratham Rex, the hobgoblin god of war and dark magic, ordered the construction of another city in his southern realm, while his armies reinforced his war fleet and fortresses. Athanatos raised another vast range of mountains to further secure his people's safety, while revealing his grand Ionian palace to his waiting multitudes. Everon the Balanced also raised a range of mountains in the northern polar region, as his people founded the great city Dorsa near a newly built keep. In the lands of Galarta, all was peaceful and calm if one discounts the tall tails of giant river otters spotted near the god of prosperity's borders. The week-long festival in Eshmun's honor must have taken its toll on its citizenry, leaving them in a contemplative mood this lunar cycle. Rumors of the newly founded cult of Mortis, the god of death and assassins, still pass from one human settlement to another, but now even the halflings and dwarves are whispering of strange going-on throughout the entire western continent. These rumors of a god of death may have had a profound effect on Gromdar, the Lord of the Golden Horde, as he has ordered the fortifying of his main grand palace, the raising of another army, and the construction of a lavish temple within his realm. Or maybe his war with the god of the gnomes, Marsala, is in full swing, as an army of terrible creatures can now be seen marching toward the master of obsession's borders. Tembra, the first road and god of oaths, united his 4 cities into a mighty kingdom, with yet another fortress was nearing completion this lunar cycle. The forges of the Lord Kurza, the Hearthfather, could be heard and felt for thousands of leagues in every direction, as Kurza himself could be seen adorned in a dazzling suit of gold and platinum armor as he unveiled his latest creation at the groundbreaking ceremony of his grand palace. A colossal golem now stands watch over his people morning, noon, and night. In the lands of the halflings, strange rumors abound. Rumors of strange sea creatures arriving on their northern shores, and gigantic wolves the size of full-grown horses patrol their southern borders. And a grand temple dedicated to the Lord Hillfeather now glows in the moonlight like a midnight sun from atop one of the largest hills in all the lands. In the lands of the gnomes, the giant Marsala, Lord of Obsession, could be seen marshaling his troops personally in preparation for war against the dwarves of Lord Gromdar. Arcanum's warriors and valiant spellcasters were somewhat successful in staving off the invasion from the goddess of death's undead legions. A mighty mystical barrier seems to be holding off their invasion on land as well as at sea, as Arcanum's mightiest of fleets sped toward the eastern continent, and Lady Izza's prized undead sea serpent was defeated by Arcanum's own aquatic behemoth. As god of the Pride Lands sent forth another mighty war fleet, armed with his most valiant of Azkatsi warriors, and stationed themselves strategically about their northern peninsula. The Piper erected another city for her Ratkin minions, while her minions scurried about marshaling their armies into a more defensive stance this lunar cycle, as another army was formed. Far to the north, Von Stark and his minions were very, very quiet this lunar cycle. Only the shrieks of his winged minions could be heard as they continued their never-ending patrols about his castle. And there you have it. That is week 4. Week 5 is, week 5's orders and actions are due this Friday, and I will also be doing an audit on everybody's empires and minions, etc. One of our players is creating a set of cards for you to keep track of all your minions, all your units, all your castles and keeps, and all those good things, and you can print off as many as you'll need to fill them out and keep track of all of your holdings in your empire. But be warned, if I do not receive week 5's actions by Friday, maybe Saturday for a few folks if I have questions. Like if you give me your orders by Friday and I have some questions, I'll extend the time period. But I absolutely have to get on schedule to be able to read the weekly report on Monday morning on Justin's show or Monday afternoon on mine, to keep my schedule. These delays have been messing with some of my other activities away from the studio and the camera. So I hope you guys will be able to get things together and get on schedule. It'll make it easier for all of us involved, and it should free up more of your time. But my would say my door is always open, but I mean my screen. If you guys have questions, feel free to hit me up, and I can walk you through everything. This is, it's still relatively new, but after 5 weeks, most of you should be on board, know what you're doing, and know what you can do. And if not, you all have copies of the rules. Read them again. Familiarize yourself, because there have been a few little changes over the past couple of weeks that you may have missed. And by all means, try to get to the very end of them, because some of the really fun information comes much later in the document at around page 100 to 150. The basics are, in the beginning. The middle has all the definitions, but there's some things in there that I've noticed people are missing out on, and I really don't want to spell it out for you. So do yourself a favor, try to make it through the document. There's plenty of pretty pictures to help you along the way, and it's really not as daunting a document as you might think without the art. It's only about 100 pages, and there's lots of huge spaces and gaps, so it's probably only about 75 pages. You should be able to knock that out in, what, 75 minutes, right? So that's what I got for you today. I will have another video out tomorrow, I hope, as well as the part 3 of the We Warriors first edition modules. And that's about all I have for you this week. I hope you guys are enjoying the God Wars. I noticed there's a lot of people watching the reports that aren't involved in the game. I really appreciate that. If you have any suggestions, or if you'd like to be part of the next God Wars that'll take place after this one, hit me up, and I'll see where I can place you in the next one. The next one's going to be a completely different world, completely different scenario. Mind you, these are both, or this one at least is a play test to get everything all in line, and find any bugs that we may have overlooked in the creating of this document in this game. So I will see you guys tomorrow over on Justin's show at noon avocado time. You guys figure out the rest for whatever time zone you're in. And that's what I've got for you tonight. Have a great evening, and I will see you guys tomorrow. And as always, happy trails.